Vegas wins 2-1. Nick Waugh wins it in overtime. Cody James and Adam Urban. Trout with you. Trout, give me your thoughts while I retweet this again.
Yeah, I thought that, it's a pretty big missed opportunity for Montreal. They were there, and then Price kind of led in a squeaky goal, and Caulfield misses a breakaway, and, there's just some bad communication on the last goal, so it's a huge missed opportunity.
Keep going. You gotta fill some time here.
I thought Vegas, they looked pretty bad for the most part of that game. They're clearly missing Chandler Stevenson. Thomas Nosek went from being a healthy scratch to playing with Stone and Pacioretty. They've gotten absolutely nothing from any of their forwards outside of Nick Waugh, really. And yeah, I guess Peter DeBoer looks like a genius, but I was kind of thinking it just looks like they're a different team without Fleury kind of in the net there. It's just weird. It might be a psychological thing or something, but they just don't seem to have it with Leonard in there. And they snuck one by today, but we'll have to see where it goes.
I feel like they were a little bit nervous playing in front of Leonard. They had to play a little bit better, just knowing how he's played before in these playoffs. I think that scared him a little bit, in my opinion. Obviously, he shit the bed against Colorado. It's tough to have confidence when your goalie does that.
Yeah, and with Leonard too, it seems like he's either an 850 goalie or a 950 goalie. So there's so much variance with him, and he played well. There wasn't really. It was a pretty terrible hockey game for the first 35 minutes or so, but he won. So I'm assuming he'll start the next one too.
He was the only reason they were in it at the start. That first period, he made multiple unreal saves just to keep it close. So I think you got to tip your hat to him a little bit more than that, because there was multiple opportunities where the Habs could have been up 2-0, 3-0 in the first period, if not for Leonard.
Yeah, and that's just missed opportunities by Montreal. They're kind of all over the place. They played pretty well, but putting Vegas away would have been the next step. But now it's 2-2, and you've got 2 out of 3 in Vegas.
Yeah. I don't think it's impossible.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, right? Because you go with the fans and all that, but who knows? Both series are 2-2 right now.
Said that about game 2 as well. They still won in front of all those fans. It didn't faze them.
It was a bit of a one-sided game. And what's with Price though? He's played really well, but just one shitty goalie game, eh?
Yeah, that was a weird one. I don't know. It kind of sneaks through him. But again, it's Carey Price. He's never been a perfect goaltender. He doesn't have a cup for a reason. But again, if you allow one goal in 60 minutes and you lose a hockey game, I don't think there's any way you can kind of pinpoint that on a goaltender. It's the same thing when we talk about the Edmonton Oilers and Mike Smith. There's a lot more to peel back versus Carey Price having one sneak through him.
Yeah, and he's played really well, obviously, and is probably the reason that they're going so far. So it'll be interesting to see how the next game goes. I think that Vegas is missing Stevenson so badly that it might not matter. But if Montreal wins Game 5 in Vegas, obviously they have to take one there. That'd be the one to take.
Doesn't matter which one you take, as long as you take one. That's... I think from Montreal's perspective, they're a team of resilience. They're not a team of highs and lows. They're a mature group. They really don't give a shit how they get it done. They're kind of worried about just getting it done in general as a committee, and that's what they've shown. It doesn't matter if it's Paul Byron, Tyler Toffoli, whoever it is scoring the goals, Corey Perry, they're going to get it done as a committee. And essentially, I think this kind of debunks everyone's myth that the North Division was shit this year. I think everyone that kind of said that can be eating crow right now, because Montreal, As you said, they're 1 week goal from Carey Price away from being up 3-1 on Vegas, who many had they were the second best team in their division, if you asked many people.
Yeah, and I haven't been really impressed with Vegas in this series outside of maybe the first kind of second game, but the third game was kind of lopsided, if you want to call it that, with the 24-5 shots, but none of them were really high-end scoring chances, and they've gotten absolutely nothing from William Karlsson, Riley Smith, Jonathan Marsh, so Mark Stone and Pacioretty. Now, like, they've got nothing from those guys at all.
Their defense is unreal, though. I mean, this is two of the best defenses in the league. And honestly, everyone's kind of going, I don't see them standing a chance against the Isles or Tampa. I kind of see it the other way. I don't think Tampa or the Isles have seen a team like this yet this year, where, these teams are strictly defense-centric. The Isles, sure, they play a defensive style, and Tampa's got some damn good defensemen. None of these teams are built like Montreal or Vegas.
No, and that's kind of the whole East versus West thing, right? The smaller skilled guys, obviously Tampa's really good, but if they played Montreal, how's Nikita Kucherov going to get to the middle of the ice against Edmondson and Shea Weber?
And I think they're going to get bullied a little bit too. Obviously, playoff hockey is a lot tougher, and I know that NHL fans nowadays want everything called in the playoffs, but again, I like seeing Shea Weber. I like seeing Pietrangelo. I like seeing those guys be able to hack and whack and kind of, beat the piss out of these guys once in a while. Because that's what I think is playoff hockey. I know that everyone's going to hate on Chris Lee and whatnot, and sure, there's missed calls. Again, they don't have the luxury of having a replay on all of these. Anyone who's going to go off on the refs clearly hasn't been in that position before. I mean, none of us have played in the NHL, and none of us sure as hell haven't reffed in the NHL. So, for everyone to be watching CBC and NBC and, the refs miss this, what a joke. I mean, shut up and put on the skates. That's my opinion on that, is everyone who bitches and complains about it, you've got nothing to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, it just... he was awful tonight. I don't think there's any way around it.
But what's awful? What's awful on our standards? Because
just the hooking call, that's like almost an excuse.
And I think that's a soft call. But again, I think that a lot of that comes down to the pressure of fans being in that environment, being like, I gotta. What?
He called the penalty against him though, so there's no pressure from the fans.
Well, no, but I'm just meaning, just the game in general, everyone going, we got to call something, or else it's going to look like they're not calling anything, and then, people are going to bitch and complain about that. So I think it's just a lose-lose situation. If you call too much, everyone cries and complains. If you don't call enough, everyone cries and complains even more. So,
I mean, I think I was going to say this, but the easiest way to get around it is just take one. Like if Pietrangelo or McNabb's going to tackle Nick Suzuki and he punches it back and McNabb throws in a third one, take McNabb, and then you're really getting rid of a lot of this stuff. But Nosek hits Weber from behind, then Weber goes around and slashes him and cross-checks him and punches him in the back of the head. And then that kind of gives precedent for the next thing to happen and the next thing. So I
don't know. I think that's playoff hockey, though, and I know we see differently a little bit. I mean, you're definitely more of the enjoy the skill game, and I'd watch classic hockey over any day. But again, anything that's roughing, and I get it. Yeah, it's a little bit of a board. It's a little bit of a questionable hit in playoffs. I think you eat your whistle and you let it go. They're grown men. They're on skates. They're buzzing around the ice. That's going to happen. Yeah, if you do hit someone, it's kind of like, was it Josh Anderson who goes and gives Leonard a little whack after the whistle? If we're calling it by the rule book, are we going to call all of that? Because if that's how it's going to be, it's going to be a joke. We're just going to be watching a power play show all the time, and you're going to see teams like Tampa, they're going to win because their power play costs them $50 million.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's the thing is, like, you're saying about taking a guy out. You go to take a guy once and it's over, but you keep letting it go, and then guys are going to start running around like idiots, and it's all entertaining and stuff, but eventually it gets out of hand.
Debatable. I'd rather see guys run around like idiots than, see everyone, crying for a call every 2 seconds. I don't even think Corey Perry got high sticked. I don't know, tell me if I'm wrong, but that 100% was the puck that hit him in the face. There was no stick that hit him in the face. And everyone's ready to grab the
times. I've looked at that 100 times. I still have no idea.
Okay, fair. But like everyone's ready to go and, suspend. Who was it? Marcia Show? I think that's who it was with the stick. And, everyone's calling for his head. They both hacked at the puck in the air. Perry missed it. Marcia Show got it. And it hit Perry in the nose. So I don't know. That's the thing, is everyone's going, oh my goodness, the refs, this, that. I don't know. It's just kind of getting old at this point. I made that joke, take a shot every time someone complains about them. But at the end of the day, I don't think that there's a better solution at this point in time. I don't think calling it by the rule book perfectly is the solution, or we're going to see 60 to 80 minutes of penalties every single night.
Well, it's kind of weird what Ron McLean said, because everybody's like, oh, you can't call the game differently, this, that, and that. And then he's like, okay, if I was a ref, I would call this here, but maybe put my whistle away because I can't make that the first penalty. And I'm like, if it's a penalty, it's a penalty.
Which is fair. If you're going to call it by the book, call it by the book. I guess that's kind of what IIHF does, even though it's not even to an extent. I mean, you watch the gold medal game, Canada, it wasn't called to the book. So I just don't see any perfect way that everyone's going to be happy. And it comes down to the fan bases too. I mean, if you're a fan of one team, you're going to see things how you want. I think that's kind of anything in life. But I not like I feel bad for Chris Lee. 100%. You kind of sign up for that job. But again, for everyone watching replays and then making calls, refs don't have that luxury. They're in the NHL.
Yeah, and I mean, everybody thinks that people are mean to their refs, but if you've ever met a ref in your life, most of them have like the "I'm the boss here" mentality.
Oh, I know. I couldn't stand refs when I played. I still, like, the refs I know right now were some of the, not people I hated the most. I don't hate them, but I disliked them. I mean, they were annoying. I would never go hang out with them outside of it. So I fully agree with you there. Again, my biggest thing is just like, okay, let's lay off the whole, watching replays, slowing things down frame by frame. It's the Mark Scheifele hit all over again. If you watch it in slow motion, you're making 17 different calls versus real time. We won't dive into that, though.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's the yearly debate, right? Like, there's never going to be a solution for it.
Hockey Twitter's the worst. I mean, just a tissue fest with tears. Okay, back to the series, though. Nick Waugh gets the game winner, 2-1. Hit us up in the comments. You got any thoughts on this game? You want to hop on the show here, shoot us a DM. We'll send you the link. We'll get you on. It's the overtime winner, I guess, for Nick Waugh. I mean, I'm not going to call it a series changer. You said this is the series changer. It's 2-2. I really think Montreal hits the reset button. They go back to Vegas, and it's the same old business. I don't think we're going to see a different Montreal team for the rest of the series. It's going to be the same old style.
Yeah, and that's kind of the team they are. They were playing the perfect game for the first 50 minutes of that game, and then all of a sudden they let one in, and then it's like, oh shoot, now we got to go on offense. And I kind of thought they sat back a little too much. Like, if you look in the last 5 minutes or so, they didn't really have any chances, and I know they started to get more from Anderson, but Brendan Gallagher has to focus a little more on getting the puck, opposed to just driving the net with his head down and hoping something hits him. But he makes, I think, $5.5 or $6 million starting. I think it started this year, but they need more from him. Also, the people on Twitter going, I can't believe how many teams passed Paul Byron. It's like, he makes $3 million, he had 15 points this year. I don't know who was going to claim him.
Yeah, it's fair. We might have lost you there for a second. I think I get what you were saying about Paul Byron, though. His cap hit. It's not as bad as a Louis Eriksson, obviously, but again, it's not a sexy contract that you're going to do. And obviously, looking back, hindsight's 2020. If teams knew they were getting Alex Nedeljkovic of the playoffs, of course everyone's going to pick him up on waivers. It's stupid not to, but hindsight's 2020. That's always how it is. If you're the Edmonton Oilers, in hindsight, you're trading Tyson Barrie and possibly Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at the deadline. So I fully get what you're saying about fans being like, how can everyone miss on Paul Byron? He flies around on the ice out there. hey, we didn't know he was getting a second win. Same thing with Corey Perry. Although I feel like Corey Perry was disrespected for his playoffs last year. I feel like that's one guy who kind of went, hey, last year wasn't a joke. I still got hockey left in me.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he's at the point in his life or in his career where he's just like, regular season, yeah, mail it in a bit. Like, not mail it in, but playoffs, he knows what to do. I mean, Eric Stahl doesn't exactly look great out there. I know he's like done some good things on that line, but he doesn't look great. I think that for Montreal, they need to get Romanov back in the lineup because Eric Gustafson's just providing nothing. Like, you get 2 power plays a game and you're going to dress him just to maybe get a power play. Like, I don't understand that one. And I think Kelly was kind of given to him on the broadcast, just being like, hey man, like, you're kind of lackadaisically going off the ice and stuff like that. And I think that he could probably take a seat.
Yeah, I like that Romanov kid. I think he brings a little bit to the game. I think he's a little more high risk, low reward than they probably want in the lineup against a team like Vegas, who they know they have to lock it down, where a veteran like Gustafson does have a little more experience in that realm. I don't know. Going back to the refs, so our boy Ray Ferraro, friend of the show, said, the biggest problem is that we can see more of what goes on with all the cameras that are available to show the games and the refs. Exactly what I said. I mean, it's Twitter reffing after the fact. That's the biggest thing that kind of pisses you off is you watch the game and in real time you're like, oh, kind of looked bad. Maybe it wasn't. The refs are right there. They're seeing a million different things. The game's never been this fast. And, hockey Twitter wants to throw Chris Lee off the Eiffel Tower because he misses a call that might not even be a call. That's my issue with it is, we could probably just tone it back a little bit. But again, dramatic sell.
Robin Leonard after the game said, I come to the rink 4 hours early, and the first 2 hours I sat and watched you guys talk shit on me on Twitter. I don't care what people think.
Do you think he's actually roaming through Twitter?
Oh, I don't know. It seems like he cares what people think. Like, if he's saying, I don't care what people think, but I'm going to waste 2 hours of my time reading this.
I just seen that Sinbin just tweeted that out. Said we're on a Stanley Cup journey. Great team. Interesting. And for a guy like Leonard, who's gone through struggles this season, I know after he got lit up by Colorado, he took a leave from the team. I don't know if people knew if he was coming back or not. Obviously he was very vocal about the NHL's standards, especially around the COVID protocol. So this is a guy who's been through a lot, the ups and the downs. He was in the bubble last year. He was a pretty damn good goalie in that bubble. And again, we're not talking about them throwing Malcolm Subban in net. It's Robin Leonard. It's a damn good goaltender when he's on his game. So for him to find his game tonight and to really show up when it mattered in that first period, it's impressive. You got to go back to him for game 5 now. And hey, if he's your guy, you run with him. Same thing you brought up for Carey Price. Those weak goals cost you. Well, Marc-Andre Fleury learned the hard way in game number 3. Those weak goals cost you. You can take a seat.
Yeah, like you can't. It just seems like whoever's goalie allows kind of the one squeaker or whatever it is. It's kind of it right there.
That's the Daryl Sutter 2-1-3-2 league, though. That is why it is so important to play good defensively and allow those chances from the outside only. Because even from where Brayden McNabb shoots that, he's in a great scoring chance. I mean, that's a grade A scoring chance, whatever the analytics nerds want to use. That's as good of an area as you can get to. Yeah, it's not a goal you want to see go through Carey Price, but again, Brayden McNabb is in prime real estate.
Yeah, they kind of allowed him right down the slot there, and both of Vegas's goals, Montreal has a chance to clear. Suzuki just kind of intercepts the pass and slaps it off the wall weakly, and then on the last one, Weber couldn't clear, and then Sherrod couldn't clear, and then Sherrod couldn't get back to his guy. So it's just so little mistakes. I mean, for Vegas, they probably should stop allowing breakaways, and that'd be probably a start. But
yeah, Cole Caulfield had that breakaway the other night. Paul Byron tonight. Was there another one? Did Foley score on a breakaway?
Caulfield had one tonight.
Caulfield had one tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, I was meaning breakaway goals.
Oh,
You got Byron tonight, Caulfield the other night. I don't know. It was interesting. Any last thoughts on this series here?
no, I'm curious to see how Montreal comes out in Game 5. With Vegas, obviously they're going to go back to Leonard, but we'll see how Montreal does.
I'd agree with that. All right, let's take a quick commercial break here. When we come back, we're going to recap Isles and Tampa Bay, and we'll get you set. They got a Game 5 coming up, both semifinals tied at 2 games apiece. It's Cody Janes and Adam Ermitrout with you on 12 Ounce Sports.
Lordco Auto Parts has been a household name in communities across Western Canada since 1974. Lordco is proudly Canadian owned and operated, and now they're in Edmonton. Carrying much more than just car parts, their newest store in St. Albert Trail Northwest has a huge selection of aftermarket auto parts and accessories. Visit them today for an exceptional customer experience or learn more about their products and services at lordco.com.
Take your game to the next level with Pro Rock hockey sticks. Pro Rock is changing the way we buy top-of-the-line twigs. They're lightweight, balanced, and provide the perfect kick point, whether you're a pro hockey player or a beer league legend. Pro Rock hockey sticks are made for you. They're at a price point you can't beat, so check them out today at prorock.com. Play like a Pro Rock.
Refreshingly different, Coco Vodka and Coco Rum is a vacation in a can. The best drink you'll ever have is now on more shelves than ever. Enjoy the Coco life made with high-quality ingredients. Check us out today at enjoycoco.com. We are the real deal. Coco Vodka and Coco Rum.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Game 4. Wow. Vegas takes it 2-1 in overtime. Nick Wong with the overtime winner. That series knotted up at 2 games apiece. Game 5 back in Vegas Tuesday night. I do believe it's a 7 o'clock start Mountain Standard Time. We are going to talk Isles Bolts. Huge thanks, of course, Lordco Auto Parts, Coco Vodka, Coco Rum, Billy Smelling Salts, Pro Rock Hockey Sticks, MyBookie.ag, everyone, Player Golf, everyone who makes this show possible. So let's go back to Ryan Pulock. Shout out. Played with him at Brandon, not a big deal. Kid was a stud. Pretty sure he was a 2-year captain in the Dub. I mean, he's got an absolute bomb. And he also just made the save of the season to save the Islanders' ass in that game. Ryan McDonough with an unbelievable dangle walks around Varlamov, who was floating out in space, and Ryan Pulock with the save of the season. I mean, he just prolonged the Islanders' win there. And now that series is tied up at 2 games apiece going back to Amalie Arena. Adam, I want to get your thoughts on that series. Are you shocked that the Isles, they saved that one? Because they go down, they allow 2 in the third. And I thought, oh no, this one's done. They're going to blow a 3-goal lead at home.
No. That's just the Islanders' way. Like they pretty much get the first goal, and that's the Islanders' way. You get the first goal, maybe first 2 if you're lucky, but they got the first 3, so obviously that was huge. It's almost like somebody said to get Leo Komarov off Barzal's line, and sure enough, Barzal scores and he's dancing again. So
Komarov tucked too.
Yeah, I guess, but still, Yeah, that's just the way the Islanders play.
Now, you said they got to sit Vasilevsky in the third. I don't know if I agree with that one at all. I don't think that rest is an issue at this point for them. And also, I mean, hey, they almost came back. So why pull your starter if you know you're in a game? When you're the Tampa Bay Lightning, I feel like you're pretty much in every game because you can score in bunches. For them to score 3 goals in 4 or 5 minutes isn't the craziest thing in the world.
Yeah, I honestly kind of figured that was going to happen as soon as I tweeted that. Everybody's like, yeah, probably agreed. I mean, 3-0 against the Islanders, tough to come back from. But then again, they're Tampa and they do what they do. So maybe not, but if it got to 4, you punt on the game. But I just kind of thought that he didn't look his best in that game. And I mean, a back-to-back, just take him out was kind of my thoughts.
Is it a back-to-back? What?
Oh. Like, no, not a back-to-back, but like 2 games in the island.
I was like, oh, geez, I got a back-to-back in this series. Also, Robin Leonard just tweeted out, thanks for all the nice words today, guys. Appreciate all the love. I don't know if he's in his own head at this point or if he just loves trolling.
I think he just likes being on Twitter and being like
yeah.
I appreciate what he's done, obviously, and all for everything he's done.
Some guys like to be the center of attention.
With mental
that's
health and all that. So good for him. But his tweets and all that, like he likes kind of playing not the villain, but the everybody's against me, everybody hates me card. Something about being a panda. Like there's a lot of stuff with that. So he definitely likes being that guy.
Some guys like drawing the attention to him. Did Ryan Reeves play today or no?
I think he did because
I honestly have no clue if he played. That was one guy I was going to ask you about because I think he's an effective playoff player and Pete DeBoer hates him.
No, they put in Patrick Brown for him, I think.
Okay, there you go. Hot take. Good thing.
It's weird because their power play absolutely sucks. Like it's 4 for 39, I think, at this point. And somebody, I think it might have been DeBoer, he's like the secret to the power play's Cody Glass. But then he's going to play Ryan Reeves 6 minutes a game and then play Patrick Brown and Nosek over Glass. I don't get that one at all. Like they've got nothing from their forwards at all. So I don't get that.
Hey, I know you ripped on the Pietrangelo signing a lot, but right now he's looking like he's worth every penny. And here's the thing, everyone goes, oh, but I mean his contract in 7 years. Who gives a shit? If they win a Stanley Cup, or if they go on a couple of runs here, no one cares what his contract looks like 5-7 years down the road. All they care about is that time they got a ring in front of a rockin' 19,000 in Vegas. That's what you play for. That's what you pay guys for. And Petro's looked like he's worth every dime so far.
Yeah, he's been awesome. He's kind of like the perfect example of a player who he's not like great at anything. He's just really good at everything he does. Like I don't think he's really like a power play type quarterback. He plays on the power play, but I don't think he's one of those dynamic power play guys, but he just does everything well. Like he's honestly a good example. One of my buddies said to me, he's kind of like Shea Weber, like without the shot, where he just does everything really well. And
yeah, but he skates way better than Weber.
I know, prime. But just like the kind of 2-way, like lacrosse check, you shut you down, that type of thing.
Yeah, I love that old school defenseman style, though. So that's, and we've talked about it before, where look at the teams who win, who have success in playoffs. Look at what type of defense they have. I'm not saying the Oilers could use 4 Darnell Nurses out there, but they could probably use 4 Darnell Nurses on the back end. You want the big guys who are going to eat shots. They're going to cross-check. They're going to be mean. They're going to slash. They're going to punch. They're going to hit. And they're just absolute warriors. That's what Montreal has. That's exactly what Vegas has. And that's why they're in the Stanley Cup semifinals. It's a pretty black and white formula, isn't it?
Yeah. No, how about Zach Whitecloud, though? I mean, literally played in the MJ, had 10 points, and then I think he lost a bunch of weight and got 40. And then just kind of the rest is history. He's played really well, but no, I definitely agree. Like Braden McNabb, Whitecloud, Shea Theodore, Nick Holden, Pietrangelo, all big guys. And then you look at Montreal, their top 4, nobody's getting around them. And I think we saw that the whole year where McDavid and Draisaitl were having point nights against a lot of the teams, and then they'd go against Montreal and lose 3-1, and everybody would be up in arms. But Montreal was a team that kind of played them the best throughout the year.
Adam, we're down to 4 teams right now. Are there any small skilled defensemen playing a big role on any of these teams right now?
No.
No, there's not. There isn't. So it still boggles my mind when, sure, you can have one, you can have two.
Like playing a prominent role, like don't come at us with like Eric Gustafson or whatever that is.
That's not a skilled D-man. You're not talking about him with your Cale Makars, your Tyson Berries. You're not talking about him in the same conversation as a skilled elite D-man. You're not talking about him, the Rasmus Dahlins, your Ivan Provorovs, I don't know. I think Bouchard's going to be a stud for the Oilers. But again, you know what I'm saying is these types of teams are built the old school way, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So I don't know when teams are going to figure out that regular season points really don't matter. What matters is what happens, what you do in playoffs.
Yeah, it's been the same for as long as I can remember. Like, you go back, Oilers 06, Chris Pronger and Jason Smith and like Steve Stais. And like
that's a generation.
That's how it's always worked.
When I think back, maybe Washington with what's his name rushing on the back end, Orlov.
He's still kind of mean though. Like, I mean, it was like Orlov, Kempny, John Carlson, Brooks Orpik. Like, I mean,
Carlson could still. I mean, he could play both ends real well. Maybe a Chris Letang, not so great defensively.
He was hurt the one run too.
Yeah, true. I'm just trying to think of small skilled D-men who have played impactful roles in the Stanley Cup in the past 10 years.
Well,
anyone? I mean, if you're
Carlson
watching, let us.
Like the most recent, like he didn't play in the Cup final, but Final Four, he was their best player.
Okay, I meant win a Stanley Cup now. That's where I was going with, like, teams who have won a cup. And if you got the answer, let us know in the chat, of course. But I just it always baffles me whenever, and they completely shit on Montreal, Vegas, the Islanders. You betting against Rich, but like
he asked me double or nothing
for them winning the cup or winning a round.
Winning this round.
It's not the worst idea in the world.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. They've screwed me over too many times. Like, I was thinking, like,
everyone's screwing you over these playoffs because you rip on Vegas, then you rip on the Isles, and they're just coming for your throat.
Vegas is still kind of TBD. They're not out of the woods yet, but the Islanders, they're
in the exact same spot. They only need 6 more wins, just like the Isles.
Yeah, just like, well, I mean, for the Islanders, I don't want to like go against them, but it took a goalie playing .875 and a goalie getting hip surgery for them to beat. So we'll see. I mean, I still want them to win. I think the Coliseum's a lot more bumping than
Coliseum's
Amalie.
A dump.
Well, it's a terrible rink, but it's bumping more than Amalie Arena or whatever that is.
They're still pumping in fan noise for that, eh? That's insane. Really? Yeah, I seen a video. They're like pumping in fan noise still through the speakers.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's just Tampa at its absolute peak. Okay, give me your prediction for the rest of the series. I don't even remember. You picked the Habs to win this series, right?
I picked Habs and Islanders in 6, and I'm sticking with it.
Bold, even though you tweeted out, whoever wins the overtime wins. But that's all right. 20 minutes to change your mind. That's fine. Okay, game 5, though. Tomorrow, it's at Amalie. I think Tampa's got to win it, right? They were buzzing in the third period. They're probably a little choked how it ended. I'd assume they come out flying.
Yeah, Kucherov was kind of getting pretty rattled last game, but
he's not rattled until he's kicking people.
I think the Islanders kind of figured them out a bit. That's what I'm going to say.
Figured them out until you allowed 3 goals in a third period, if not for Ryan Pulock. Good dub, kid, though. Alrighty, that'll do it. That's a good little post-game wrap. We're going to be back Wednesday, of course, at 11 a.m. Stay tuned. Everyone go support Lordco. Player, who's got did someone win World Hockey Report Overtime Challenge tonight?
I have no idea.
Wow. Okay, well, Adam's going to get on that. For everyone who's watching, hold him accountable. He'll get me the list tomorrow, and I will make up a new graphic and tweet that out tomorrow afternoon. I didn't check if anyone won, so shout out if you did win. We appreciate everyone who uses the hashtag WHROT Challenge when games go the distance. Till then, everyone enjoy it. It is Game 5 tomorrow night. Also, shout out Nick Waugh, though. Good Canadian boy, French kid, wins it in Montreal, stuffs it down the throats of... Stuffs it down the throats of 3,500. It was kind of quiet. Okay, I got one more for you before I sign off here. It was quiet in the Bell Center today, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just don't know. It's just like hard because you're like, oh, everyone's like, imagine that OT winner if they had fans there. It's like, oh, like I don't know. It's hard to tell. Like that little light thing they do is cool, but it's honestly hard to tell with the banners. And then it's kind of weird, ridiculous. So they show outside and there's 9,000 people just outside celebrating with no mouse, and then we can only have 3,500 inside, but it's neither here nor there.
Hey, I mean, Dominic Ducharme, Kelly McCrimmon fighting the vid. That's a rough look. Ducharme goes to Vegas for a weekend, and he ends up picking it up.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
We won't dive into our doctorate talks tonight. That's going to do it, though. Vegas wins game number 4, 2-1. Shout out Nick Waugh. Game 5, Isles, Tampa tomorrow night. We'll talk to you then.